All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's presentation, UCR School of Medicine Pathway Programs, with our partners from UCR School of Medicine. This afternoon, I'd like to introduce Esmeralda Trejo and Jacqueline Loya, who are going to talk about pathway programs affiliated with our School of Medicine. We have a lot of interest in these programs each year. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Esmeralda and Jacqueline to talk about those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for HPAC for inviting us again to promote our various pathway programs. Today, I have Jacqueline, who's our program coordinator and instructor for various programs, and myself, assistant director of pathway programs. We're going to talk about 4 of them, so do bear with us. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you have specific questions on a specific program, we'll try to answer it as best as we can, but we hope to reserve it at the end to answer all of your questions. We do also have a few students who will share some testimonials that have participated in our programs currently and during the summer. So go ahead, Jackie, you can go to the next slide.
So thank you again for joining us, everyone. We appreciate any incoming questions, and we'll make sure to leave some time at the end for Q&A. But to start us off, we always like to review the mission of our medical school with you, as we are very tied to the med school because our pathways programs sit within our medical school here at UCR. So the mission of this med school is to improve the health of the people of the Inland Southern California region. So that includes Riverside, San Bernardino, and Imperial counties. And we will do this by basically creating the next set of diverse workforce of healthcare professionals, specifically physicians. And we hope to also be leaders in innovative research as well as in our healthcare delivery programs, so that we can continue to improve the health of the medically underserved in this region and become models to be emulated across the state and the nation. So that is our mission here at the med school, and you'll see that our mission and values are very much intertwined into all of our programming.
Thank you, Jackie. And to kind of align with our mission and our values and really helping our students, especially here from the Inland Empire, to practice here and stay and serve our community, we like to review kind of the application process and what we look for at the UCR School of Medicine. So I do want to remind you that Jackie and I are not part of the admissions team. We don't review your applications, but we do work closely to make sure that our pathway students are ready to apply and become competitive applicants. So other than just looking at the required coursework, we also like to take a look in getting involved, which hence why our pathway programs exist. We really look for students who want to develop as leaders, maybe improve in their public speaking skills, improve in their team work skills. We look at clinical experiences, which we'll talk about shortly. Community service is huge, something we really value, and we incorporate into a multiple programming in our programs here. And we also have professional development, and we'll also look at employment. So these are different categories that we take a look when we review, or admissions reviews your application. So things to keep in mind when you are going through your educational journey, how to make yourself a more competitive applicant, is to make sure that you fulfilled each category at least somewhere, not just only with pathway programs, but in other areas and at UC Riverside. Go ahead. Thank you. So like I mentioned, today we're only going to showcase 4 programs because we do have 10. So we don't have enough time to review all of them, but we do touch base with a lot of students that are interested in going into medicine, becoming physicians, but just in general, also healthcare. We start from K to 8 up until graduating and going into post-bac programs. So specifically today, we're going to focus on future physician leaders, the health sciences partnership, the mini medical school, and health coach program. So you are definitely welcome to join any of these programs at different areas of your education, either during the academic year or also in the summer. So we're going to start off first with reviewing FPL. So this is one that is in the summer. So if you're right now thinking about summer plans, what is it that you want to do, how much time you can dedicate, you can look at FPL as a 9-week summer program. We start right after the quarter ends. And the dates here are June 13th to August 11th. We do have an online orientation to be scheduled on Saturday, May 21st from 9 to 11 a.m. It is mandatory. So if you're interested in this program, please make sure to check the program dates and orientation on your calendar, as we don't anticipate to have another orientation. We also like to have this orientation early on so students know exactly what they're committing to. It is a lot of time and a lot of dedication, so we want to make sure that you have enough time in your schedule to participate in these programs. So when you are applying, you're going to be asked to consider 2 different groups. So either you'll be considered in the Riverside San Bernardino group or the Coachella Valley. So if you are a participant that your hometown is near Coachella Valley or the Coachella Valley area, I do encourage you to select that cohort group. Or if your hometown is closer to maybe Riverside or San Bernardino, you can select that group too. Do know that during the application process, we will try our best to accommodate your first selection, but sometimes depending on space, we might accommodate you to the second selection. So just be aware of that. Applicants should be at least current juniors in high school. So as young as current juniors in high school. So I know we are talking to college students here, but by any chance, you know somebody that would be a great applicant for FPL, feel free to share this information as well with them, that we will be hosting other sessions that they can join in and possibly want to consider FPL for the summer. And we also take students from other institutions too. So feel free to share with other friends and families. We are anticipating to have this in a hybrid format. So that means that some lectures will be in person, some will be online. We will adapt to all in online if necessary. It is February, so things may change coming summer, and we will follow our CDC and UCR guidelines. Next slide, please. So what does the program entail? So we do have 4 components, but 3 of those components are mandatory as part of the regular FPL program. So the main component is a health education project. You will be expected to work in a team of students. So these students range from UC, Cal State, community college, even a high schooler in your team. So you're going to learn how to work with different people. You'll come up with a health education topic and present your CHP. So I'll talk a little bit more of that in the next slide. You also are expected to attend weekly lectures on guest speakers. So we have these guest speakers come from different areas of life. Some of them are physicians, some of them are nurse practitioners or public health researchers, medical students, so it really just varies. So every summer I do try to choose various guest speakers in different parts of healthcare to learn more about them and their educational journey, and also how do they prepare to make themselves competitive for their application when they decided to go enter that profession. We also do want you to showcase your education project through a program symposium. So at the end, kind of similar to our research symposium, you'll create a poster, you'll write a formal written report on your findings on your health project, and you'll get to present it to the community members. And we invite staff and faculty from School of Medicine and at UCR partners to come and you can showcase this, all your hard work this summer. And the 4th one, which is completely optional, and it does require additional requirements in the application. You will be asked if you're interested in mentorship. So what this means is you would be paired with a UCR medical student or another healthcare professional, but strictly just MD field. So if you're interested in going the MD route, you can apply for this one. It's a weekly sessions for 6 weeks, and you would be meeting for 1 hour, 1 week on a specific topic that we select. So it could be like a MMI review or a case-based learning, reviewing a personal statement, and so on. Only about 20% of the students from FPL do participate in this component. You are required to submit a letter of recommendation, your resume, and an unofficial transcripts. We do encourage students who are maybe a little bit older in their career path, so possibly 3rd or 4th years, to apply, and students who have not applied to medical school yet are encouraged to participate in the mentorship. It is possible that if you do select to participate in mentorship, to be denied the mentorship component, but still be accepted in the regular FPL program. If you are accepted in mentorship, though, you do have to complete all 4 components. So just be aware of that. Next slide. So the health project. So please make sure if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. This is kind of the heart and soul of the program. You would be working alongside 5 to 6 other individuals to complete this project. And you're working in a team. We select your teammates. You're going to be introduced to them at orientation. You're going to come together and select a health topic that you're interested in. You're going to raise awareness on this topic. So in the past, we've had on smoking, on cancer, nutrition, mental health is a big one, especially during the pandemic, oral hygiene, lung health, and so forth. So you get to really choose which topic you want. It's also best to be very specific. So if you're looking at cancer, we have folks who have done skin cancer versus we've had breast cancer, for example. So you really want to look at something that you really value and enjoy, or maybe that's something that you wish you would have known and something that you've seen in your family or within your teammates. You find something that you all have a commonality together. You're going to create this project by doing a presentation on what are the risk factors, what are how to prevent it, screenings that you might need to do, what are some literature. So you will have to learn how to do some research on how prevalent is it here in the IE or in California or Riverside in San Bernardino or Coachella Valley. So you want to learn how to conduct research, and don't worry. If you haven't yet, or maybe someone in your teammate hasn't yet, this is the time where you would work together and help each other out, right? And you learn what are your strengths or what are your teammates' strengths, and you work together on this project. You're going to be expected to go out into the community. So this could be in person or online. We'll have more information as we get closer. But you're going to go into the community and actually present your project and raise awareness on this health topic. And you're expected to create surveys to evaluate how effective it was to educate them on this topic. We will teach you how to create surveys as well and teach you how to analyze your data. And you're going to put that together in a written report to be ready for your poster and your symposium. So to make sure that you learn to work with others, this is the perfect project to, if you've never done teamwork before, or maybe you have, but maybe there are some skills where you want to develop as a leader, as a group leader. This is the perfect project that you can be introduced to and learn more about. Next slide. So here I just provided some pictures of what exactly you'll be expected to do. For the summer, we're expecting you to all create a presentation. So it'll be a PowerPoint presentation, and then you will have the chance, if we decide to go in person, to do these presentations in various venues. You can put it in a poster board, which will provide you all the materials. You will be expected to do an educational video. So we'll show you how to create one of those. This last 2 years, social media has been big, as you can see, from a lot of our marketing materials. And so that will be an optional way to showcase and to do more outreach. So this could be through TikToks or Instagram or Facebook. There's various ways that you can engage with the community members. And we also have seen folks who have done flyers or brochures to raise awareness and something to share at the end of their presentations if you decide to do like Zoom meetings and so on. So these are just a few things that you can see. And we also have some more on our website too that you can definitely check out later on. The mentorship program. So like I elaborated a little bit, this is for students who are interested in going into the MD route and maybe a little bit older. So if you're going to be a rising 3rd or 4th year, or even a recent graduate and you're still trying to figure out what is that you want to do, you will be paired with a mentor. So we do ask additional questions about what you like to see in a mentor and why you deserve or think you want to have a mentor, especially if you've never had one before. We do encourage you to complete this component. We do ask you that you have not applied yet to medical school because this person would be helping you to get your application ready, or at least guide you in what are some things that you might need to do to enhance your application for this next upcoming cycle. So if you've already applied for or planning to apply for this fall, I don't recommend it to be part of the mentorship program. Do take into account the date. So the program does start on the orientation day, which is June 17th from 6 to 7:30. So if you do apply for mentorship, like I said, for the regular program orientation is May 21st. The orientation for mentorship is June 17th. So you do have to attend both if you are accepted to mentorship. Like I mentioned, if you apply to mentorship program, but you're not accepted, you can still be accepted in FPL, and we'll definitely let you know if you've been accepted to one or the other or both. So the commitment, I did want to share a little bit about when these meetings are. So they are in the evening. So if you're somebody who you're thinking about doing work or school, I want you to first really look at the syllabus. So if you are accepted into the program, I do share that beforehand so you can understand what the commitment is. It is about 20 hours a week. So I do want to make sure that you understand that. It is like a part-time job. So if you're thinking about doing summer school, so if you're thinking about doing lab, or organic chemistry, some of you might be doing that. I've seen that before, and have lab and have other courses. I would just rethink a little bit about the commitment. But if maybe you're somebody who you're maybe planning to volunteer for 10 hours a week, and then do FPL, that's definitely could be doable. So just really look at your schedule. I don't want you to overcommit, because it is a lot, and working with a team, and it is very fast paced. So I want to make sure that you understand that. Depending on what day you are accepted, Coachella Valley, or what group you're accepted, Coachella Valley meets on Mondays and a Tuesday. So please check the program calendar on our website, just because we do have 2 holidays that fall on a Monday. So we have to make up those times somewhere. So feel free to please check those out. And the Riverside San Bernardino group meets on Tuesdays for the Community Health Project, and then on Thursdays for the lectures. And Coachella Valley meets on Wednesday for the lectures for the lecture series. We do anticipate to do the program or symposium in person. It would be in the afternoon into the evening on one of the days on the 9th, 10th, or 11th. So just have those free, or because, you know, things are constantly changing, that we'll have more information as we get closer what day the symposium will be. So just please make sure to save those dates and those times as well. The application will open up on Monday. So if you are eager, just save that time. We will ask you for a few essay questions. And like I said, if you're only applying to the regular FPL program and you're not interested in mentorship, you just have to submit the online application. No need for a letter of rec or anything like that. But if you are a high school student, or if you are interested in mentorship, you do have to submit one letter of recommendation for the mentorship program. Here are the dates, just to recap. Our final deadline for mentorship, and that also includes the regular FPL application. So if you're applying for mentorship, it's all in one application. It's going to be April 6th, and that includes your letter of recommendation. So there will be a link that you'll have to share with your recommender. So make sure that you send them that link, and you can also find it on the website when it becomes available on the 7th. Then if you're interested, if you're like, I'm not interested in mentorship, you can still apply by the 6th if you'd like, but the final deadline for the regular application is April 28th. And remember, you don't have to submit a letter of recommendation if you're a college student. We do plan to send out final acceptances for either of the programs on May 11th. So like I said, please make sure to share or save that May 21st date, because you are expected to come to the orientation on that Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m. There's my contact information, so feel free if you have any questions that come up to email the SOM FPL Med School email, and I can reply to you there. And then we also have an Instagram, so feel free to follow us. We share a lot of great resources on there, not just about FPL, but of other programs that you can be part of. All right, moving on to HSP. So during the academic year, we just shared a summer program, but during the academic year, I also recruit mentors, which are UCR students who want to share a little bit about their own experience as being part of, you know, as a college student, right? So we definitely do want you to share a little bit about, you know, how did you transition, or how did you go through navigating high school and be prepared for college. So here are some partner high schools that we have. And so I'm always recruiting mentors. And oh, I see we have a question. So yes, okay. So let me just share really quickly for our FPL. I forgot to have William speak. William, are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, sorry. So we'll have William speak, and then I'll continue on with HSP. So go ahead, William. So he's participated this past summer. So if you want to share about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm William Wang. I am a third-year biology major right now at UCR. I did FPL the past year, and my community health project was on diabetic retinopathy, because I was assigned to the Coachella Valley area, and the Coachella Valley and the Riverside County area have actually a higher amount of diabetes than the rest of California. And so our entire community health project was educating people on how they could fix their lifestyle to lower the chances of diabetes or to live with diabetes, because a lot of the time, the people who are afflicted with diabetes are people who don't have the resources to eat healthier food, or they just don't have the information because they're unable to see a healthcare provider. So our group was very efficient. We didn't spend more than, I want to say, 20 hours a week on FPL. So it wasn't something that was extremely like time commit. It wasn't like a 40-hour work week, but it still was a little bit of time investment. So if you are doing like a summer class, maybe FPL wouldn't be the right choice, because I do know that some summer classes like organic chemistry, like Esmeralda was saying, are very, very time consuming because, you know, of how tough the class is, right? So if anybody does want to apply to FPL, I would say first that try to have a healthcare topic that you're very passionate about. For me, it was diabetic retinopathy because both my mom and my dad suffer from it. And, you know, it was easy for me to get into the topic and educate the community at the presentations about it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, William. Sorry, I skipped
Yeah,
over
no
you there.
problem. That's
And
okay.
we'll have more time to ask questions as well.
Okay.
So thank you, William. So moving on to HSP. So I know this is more of like a health education topic. So this is actually going to be more college going topics. So you will be provided with presentations that talk about, you know, college life, career tips, health sciences, mental wellness, mental health and wellness, especially right now during this pandemic. And so we will give you all these presentations and you'll be expected to go to these sites. So we do plan, and remember, things can change, but we do plan that you will be going to these high schools and we will put you in groups to go to these high schools. So just make sure that if you're interested in HSP, you have to have a reliable transportation. You have to have at least a 4-hour block period, one day out of the week. So if it's like a Tuesday and that works out with another few of your teammates, all of you would be going to this high school and presenting all in one day to this one teacher. So just be aware of that, you know, it is during high school time, so 7 to 3. We are looking to maybe possibly doing a weekend option with one of our other partner pathway programs, our Medical Leaders of Tomorrow. But I'll have that on the application if you're interested in doing the component during the week and or on the Saturday options. But for the most part, it all takes place Monday through Friday. So just be aware of that on your time commitment as well. You will be starting in October with training going to be anticipated to be around September. So we'll train you before you start going into the high schools. So again, if needed, we will adapt to an online platform, but just plan like you have to commute to the high schools. Next slide. So like I said, we will train you. You will be in a group of 5 to 6. We'll train you on public speaking. We'll train you about how to create engaging presentations. So we are creating these presentations for you, but you are expected to find an engaging activity that relates to the topic. So if you're going to talk about college admissions, what is an activity that you can do that you will engage your audience? And again, these are high school students. So you want to make sure that you have the energy and you want to capture their attention to present on this topic. We also want you to learn how to evaluate surveys. So you are going to be having them complete a survey at the end and evaluate, you know, how effective were you? Do you need to make adaptations to how you present or how you work with your teammates? Or do you also need to change up, you know, the activity, right, to make it more engaging? Like I said, we will create these presentations. We do allow for you to change them up a little bit, depending on, again, based off of the evaluation. But we do understand that this is about a 20-hour time commitment a month. So you are expected to work with your team. So please, you know, review your time schedule if you are able to fit in commuting, going to the schools, presenting, and, you know, and then you got to come back to class if you do have class that day. So just be aware of those things when you're applying to these programs. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what are the benefits of HSP? So number one is public speaking. You're going to learn how to communicate, how to present. That is something that with HSP, you learn how to present very quickly on the fly, especially things may happen that you might not be aware of. So I'll have a few of the HSP mentors share in a little bit, but maybe just learning how to talk to others. So these are high school students. So just put yourself back there, when you were in high school, were you as interested, as engaged, right? What can you do to get their attention? And you're closer to their age, so they're most likely to listen to you rather than having me going and presenting these topics. We do also professional development activities, and that's through our Pathway program. So there's different ways that we can develop you as a leader. So if you need to review about your resume or interviewing skills or advising, just general graduate school, professional school, whatever you need, I'm here to support you and prepare you for your next step as well. So some deadlines. The application again is going to open up on Monday, and the application deadline is April 14th. So just note that down. I do anticipate having a Saturday training September 10th. That may change though, but just be aware that we will have a training in September on the weekend before we start off. So the students do start, the high school students already go back to school in August. So I know you all come back around October is when you start. So we want to make sure we train you before we start having your first presentation in October. During their summer, there'll be some online trainings that you can complete, and you'll complete those before you start the in-person or online training. So I'll have right now, we'll have Sophia, if you can share a little bit about HSP, and then I have also Jonathan to share a little bit, and then we'll transition to our next programs.
Hi, everybody. This is my second year at HSP. I'm a third year biology major right now. And before applying, I did have a little bit of background in already creating and presenting presentations. So I thought this would also be a really good opportunity. But even if you don't have any background, Esmeralda trains you really well. But it interested me a lot because high school students, because we can talk to them about topics like navigating college apps, financial aid, learning about other types of higher education, and just being a first-gen student. I remember what it was like being in high school and getting ready to apply, and I had absolutely no idea what to do, and it was just a lot more difficult to prepare for college. So through HSP, now I'm able to be that mentor and be that source of information that I wish I had when I was in high school for other high school students. And so far, it's definitely been improving my speaking and presenting skills. I'm a lot more comfortable with presenting on the fly if anything goes wrong, or if I have to sub in for another mentor, as well as engage with the audience and really see what works and what doesn't with high school students and with freshmen or seniors, And it's definitely also been a really good opportunity to work as a team, because this is something that you have to be really consistent in, because you have to present every month, but you also have to prepare for every month. So definitely delegating responsibilities and making sure that we're holding each other accountable. But yeah, good luck to interested applicants.
Thank you, Sophia. And, Sophia, I do want to give her kudos because she's done a wonderful job as a team leader for HSP. So I do appreciate you taking the time and staying with us again for another year. We also have Jonathan, who is also a second year HSP member. Jonathan, do you want to share a little bit?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Abagu. I've been in HSP for the past 2 years, and I'm a fourth year biology major. HSP is really special to my heart because I remember going to a field trip, the UCR School of Medicine as a sophomore, hearing about it and really disappointed that my high school didn't have it. So I really wanted to have the opportunity because UCR students came to my high school and kind of did something similar to HSP, but they weren't affiliated with the program. So I wanted to actually be a part of that ever since then. And it's been a blessing to kind of talk to basically kids that kind of grew up where I did in Mineral Valley or Riverside, and kind of see that progression from 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and then get to UCR. So in fact, even last year, I know there were also students that told me they were interested in going to UCR because of HSP. So it really warms my heart, and I hope you have that rewarding experience if you do apply and get in. So please keep that in mind as you do.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, so this is definitely a time to mentor and give back to your community. It's a different way. It's not too much of a clinical experience, but if you're looking to volunteer during the academic year and your schedule permits, like I said, we do anticipate going back in person. Please take a look. It is definitely rewarding, and it's exciting to see these high schoolers and inspire them to go into higher ed. So I'm going to transition it over to Jackie, who will talk a little bit about our health coach program.
Thank you, Esmeralda, and thank you all of our students for sharing your testimonies regarding our programs. So next, I'm going to be touching on the Health Coach program. So the Health Coach program is a partnership with Riverside University Health System. And in this program, it's a very unique volunteer experience because you are going to be trained to help assist patients with their lifestyle management goals. So you will be placed in a clinical system. You are not paid, so it's an unpaid volunteer experience, but it's very much like an internship because you are considered a very critical role within the healthcare system. And we have this program thanks to the visionary of two individuals that you see on the screen there, Dr. Jeffrey Lee Young and Dr. Neil Schiller. So they took a model that was being used at UC San Francisco within their federally qualified health clinic systems. And they brought it to Riverside County because they acknowledged that we needed more opportunities for future healthcare professionals to have some hands-on clinical experience, but also they acknowledged that there is a great need in this area, especially in Riverside County, to better support patients in between their visits with their providers. The other part of the program is aimed at supporting your professional and career development and ultimately your graduate school application process. So we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in the upcoming slides. I'm happy to announce that we just opened our application as of today, just about an hour ago. So if you want to start looking at that application process, you can visit hcp.ucr.edu, and I'll go over what that looks like in a little bit as well. So in terms of this program, we're looking for individuals that are in their third year, fourth year, or have recently graduated from undergrad. So if you are a recent college transfer, you are also eligible to apply to this program. I often get that question, so just note that you can apply. In terms of when the program runs, it is going to run within an academic year, so between September 1st of 2022 and then it'll end for this next cohort on June 30th of next year. There is an onboarding process that takes place over the summer, and that happens between June and August. I often get asked about what those dates look like in terms of onboarding and attending trainings and going to the volunteer services at the county health system. So unfortunately, because we do have subject matter experts that we work on with the county to secure those training dates, we won't know what those training dates look like until May. So just note that we ask that you try to keep your schedule as free as possible between June and August so that you can plan to include or attend some of those trainings during the onboarding season. You do need to attend all of those trainings and fill out all of the volunteer services documentation with the county in order to start the program in September. So please just note that. Also, we have a mini orientation that takes place at the end of May, and during that time we meet for about an hour and a half with the county health system. So that includes a representative from the medical school pathway programs and then the county, and basically we dive a little deeper into next steps after being accepted into the program and planning that summer for you for onboarding. In terms of whether there's an interview process or not, yes, there is. We use the multiple mini interview format. So that's the same format that is used when interviewing for medical schools. And we plan to continue to do that in a virtual setting this year. So basically, just to summarize what that looks like for the Health Coach program, you would be invited to attend a Zoom meeting where you'll be interviewing in different breakout rooms with different interviewers. A lot of our questions are case scenario-based questions, and they're addressing areas of professionalism, teamwork, and communication. In terms of our last cohort, we had about 30 to 35 health coaches on average every academic year. We serve over 15 clinics. So you are placed only with one clinic system when you are placed as a health coach. So our health coaches would be in any one of those 15 clinics. And then last cohort of health coaches served over 1,500 patients. So you do get to serve a large body of community members. And then collectively, our health coaches put in over 8,000 hours of service. So you do receive a certificate of completion that is signed by Dr. Emma Simmons, our here within Student Affairs of our med school. And then it's also signed by our leadership at Riverside University Health System. Our program also provides a certificate of motivational interviewing, because you have to go through motivational interviewing training, and I'll talk a little bit what that is in an upcoming slide. So those are 2 certificates that you receive upon completion of the program. In terms of what it's going to look like because of the pandemic, so thankfully our county is ready to go in terms of safety. We do require all of our health coaches to be vaccinated, so you will have to provide proof of vaccination if you want to participate in the program, and that is in accordance to California state mandates and the healthcare workforce that serves the community and patients. And we are going to aim to have our health coaches at the clinic sites as much as possible for the majority of this upcoming year. But if for whatever reason, we have to make changes because of COVID, then we are ready to allow our health coaches to also serve patients via the comfort of their home. So it's not exactly telehealth, but it is you would be serving patients from your home. So I had a couple of questions come up in the chat. Let me just visit that really quick. Do we have to have previous volunteering experience? So thank you, Esmeralda, for answering that. So I think that's great the way you answered. So it's not a requirement to have previous volunteer experience, and you'll note that some of the essay questions on the website ask you, the application will also ask you if you've served in a clinical setting before, but if you have experience just translating for maybe loved ones or helping friends or colleagues navigate the healthcare system in any shape or form, please speak to that experience. But it's not required. All right, so in terms of time commitment, we do require that you complete a minimum of 260 volunteer hours within our academic year of September through June. What that looks like, most of our health coaches designate one day of their week or 2 half days of their week to complete those hours. So they'll come into the clinic for an 8-hour shift, or they may choose to maybe come in on a Monday, for example, for 4 hours, and then on a Wednesday for 4 hours. Some of our clinics, which are not many, I think it's only 2, if I recall correctly, do offer some weekend hours, but the majority of the time, regardless of the clinic, you're going to be expected to complete your hours during the week. So please make sure that you have the time in your schedule to be able to commit to the program. As I mentioned before, the county does a really great job at providing this opportunity. It's very, very unique opportunity, but you are considered just as another part of the healthcare team. So they're going to look at you like, not like a nurse and a doctor, but you are there to support the healthcare team. You're a colleague to our nurses and doctors and our clinical staff. So when you're not there, it takes a toll not only on the team, but also on the patients, because they're expecting to see you. So we really, really hope that anyone that applies and is accepted into the program can abide to this commitment. It's also important to know that up to 40 hours of the 260 minimum volunteer hours to support their service in the health coach program can be used during outreach events. So if you are a health coach that's accepted and we ask you to come support an information session, maybe one like the one we're doing now, you can count this time towards your hours as well. So in terms of what we're looking for in candidates and expectations for future health coaches, we are looking for people that are professional, have strong teamwork skills, and are really great with their communication. So in terms of professionalism, why this is important, so you'll, aside from onboarding and trainings, you will be expected to leave and arrive on time, whether that is for your in-clinic experiences, or maybe there's meetings that you have to attend with the larger health coach cohort, or with your clinical teams. So you'll be expected to attend those. It's also important to be on time, right? So that when you are designated maybe a call with the patient or a meeting with the patient, that you are there and you are attentive to that patient care experience. And we also have various established protocols and procedures that you'll have to follow within the clinic system. Teamwork is important because not only are you working with the nurses and doctors, but there's clinic managers, there's representatives at the front desk, there's patient navigators, we have a home health team, which really helps serve patients at home. And so you'll be interacting with all of them. And it's very important that you come with a positive outlook, a willingness to help others, because as you all know right now, our healthcare systems are very strained due to the pandemic. So when you're there, they expect you to be a team player, and they welcome you as a team player as well. You also act as a liaison and advocate to your patients. So you are not diagnosing, right, because you don't have that clinical background just yet, but you are trained to basically coach someone through the goals that they want to address. So sometimes that's goals around diet and exercise. Sometimes it might even be goals around financial planning, right? So you'll be taught what you can discuss during your meetings and within your scope. And there's other people within the healthcare system that you can refer those patients to if it's something that is out of your scope. In terms of communication, you're going to learn a really wonderful skill that our medical residents are learning as well. And this is motivational interviewing. Basically, this skill in terms of helping to support patients, instead of telling a patient what they should do, right? Like, let's say they need to improve their diabetes management, and a recommendation from the provider is to cut carbohydrates from their diet. Excuse me. You might say, well, Mr. So-and-so, you might want to cut back on your intake of rice or tortillas, right? Sorry, excuse me. So instead of telling the patient that, you're having a conversation with the patient. You're asking them about, what does a carbohydrate mean to them, and really allowing yourself to fill in maybe some of those health literacy gaps if needed, but also asking them, okay, well, I understand that, this might be a part of your day-to-day diet, having those 3 tortillas with your meal. So is there something that you think you can do to try to reduce that intake, or are you comfortable with trying to reduce that intake for this next couple of days or this next week? And so you're really helping them take control of their health and the lifestyle management goals and steps that they want to take when it comes to their health. So it's a really, really great skill to have. And you'll be one step ahead, I assure you, especially if you're planning to go into the healthcare field and be a doctor, nurse, public health professional, etc. You'll be one step ahead of the ballgame once you receive that training. Also, in terms of communication, I mentioned before, it's not just communicating with patients. You're going to be working with these wonderful healthcare teams. So if you are running late, or if you, for instance, right now with the pandemic, get sick, right, or get COVID, making sure that you are responsible for utilizing the appropriate communication platforms that you'll be made accessible to once you're accepted into the program to inform your team about what's going on. And the county is really great at being flexible. They know your students first, but with that also comes a lot of honesty and transparency that is expected of you. So if you don't communicate in a timely manner, then they can't help you or make exceptions around your schedule. So please make sure that if you get accepted into the program that you are aware of that and that you are very transparent with our healthcare teams. So in terms of program benefits, on the UCR School of Medicine side, once accepted into the program, you're going to be invited to different professional development workshop events. And if some of you are in our pathway programs already, you're familiar with our professional development workshop series, so you'll continue to receive invitations to attend those, and as well as networking opportunities. We tend to invite some of our health coach alumni to some of our meetings so that you can get to know them and learn from their experiences and also their grad school application processes, and also gain some mentorship through those interactions so that you feel better prepared and supported through that process. And in addition to that, we also offer one-on-one professional development and wellness coaching. So those are just meetings with right now it's been with myself around talking about setting your career and your professional goals. It might include setting a timeline around planning when you're going to be applying to grad school. It might include reviewing a personal statement, etc. So it's really great that you have that support in that sense. And then on the clinical side, which is where you'll be spending most of your time and most of your volunteer hours, you'll be gaining that hands-on patient care experience. You'll be learning how to document in an electronic health record system. And they use Epic, which is a healthcare system that's used by a lot of large healthcare organizations, including Kaiser Permanente, Loma Linda, Riverside University Health System, obviously, because that's where you'll be volunteering. So really great skill to note. And in addition to that, there'll be special projects that the county may be working on that you may be asked to support. So for example, you will all start off with learning how to fill out the whole person health score assessment, which is an assessment that the county designed to better understand what are the social, economical barriers that these patients are experiencing outside of their direct illness or disease that they may be coming in to talk to their provider about. And the reason they do this is because they want to understand, after this individual leaves our clinic today or ends their appointment today with us, what can we better do to help support their wellness outside of this visit? And sometimes that's not necessarily something that requires a medication, for example, right? Sometimes that might require some social or economic support, whether that's in the form of housing or that's in the form of maybe getting a SNAP benefit so that they can purchase, meals, right? So our county does really great at trying to improve this support, and they acknowledge that health is not always directly affected by illness or disease. It's affected by all these other factors. So you'll get exposed to that, which is the exciting part. So who can apply? Once again, third or fourth year undergraduates. That includes recent college community college transfers. And then also recent grads. And we encourage those that have strong ties to the Inland Empire or want to serve this region to apply. And if you happen to be of another major or background, you can definitely still apply as long as you have a passion for this field. So for example, if you're an English major, but you plan on going to medical school and maybe you haven't taken all of your prereqs just yet, but this is a passion of yours and you have volunteered or kind of dived into the clinical system in other shapes or forms, we want you to apply as well. In terms of what you need to apply, there's an online application at hcp.ucr.edu. You will also need to include one letter of recommendation. It has to come from a professional. We do not want to see letters of rec from a colleague. So that includes, I know a lot of you serve on different organizations, so we do not accept letters from like a student board member, for example. But as long as you can get one from an advisor or a supervisor if you worked before in any capacity, or a professional mentor, those are the types of letters of recs we would like to see. We also ask for an updated resume and for you to submit an official transcripts. And this is all done on that one application portal. So the resume and an official transcripts you would submit in PDF format. You could just upload them there. And then the letter of rec is a separate link that you can find under additional documents required to apply in our website, and you send that link to your recommender so that they can submit their letter of rec in a separate link, and it has to come from your recommender. You cannot submit on behalf of your recommender. In terms of GPA, I often get asked, do I need to meet a certain science GPA requirement? Not necessarily. It is encouraged to have a strong science GPA when you apply, but again, as long as you have a passion for the field, and maybe this is an experience that's going to help you not only gain more hands-on clinical experience, but also support you in your graduate school application journey, whether that's medical school or not, then this is the right program for you. So just make sure you have the time commitment to the program, because that is a very big requirement in order to participate in the health coach program. In terms of deadlines, so we opened up the application today. Our priority deadline is March 17th, and our final deadline is April 28th. And if you are invited to interview, that interview will take place during the week of May 16th, and then we plan on orientation at the end of May. So with that said, I want to invite a couple of health coaches to share about their experience. And I'm going to start off with Sophia, which you've heard from earlier, as she is part of another pathway programs of ours.
Hi guys, yes, I'm Sophia. I'll just introduce myself again. I'm a third-year bio major, and this is my first year in health coach. So I applied as a second-year undergrad. And when I first heard about health coach, I was really excited about the opportunity that this program provides, because it's a place where I can have my own patients and be in a clinic environment with a healthcare team. And personally, in my clinic, my healthcare team has been very welcoming, and they've helped me with a lot of things. And before that, I was mainly involved in free clinics, but because I'm an undergrad volunteer, my patient interactions were limited to mainly translating, and I didn't have as much of an impact in patient care. But now that I'm like trained in motivational interviewing through health coach, and I'm much more trained in like nutrition and topics like diabetes, hyperlipidemia, and knowing what my patient needs to work on, that has been an amazing opportunity. And through health coach, just being able to have like that one-on-one and actually having an impact on your patient's care is it's a really great opportunity, and it's teaching me a lot. But what I could say about the application and interview process is that they're mainly meant to get to know you as a person. They are like the MMI style. And so it's kind of on the spot, and they're really meant to see how you would interact as a patient, what you would do in the circumstance, and get to know kind of more aspects of you, and see how well you can provide patients with the respect and empathy that they need, and trusting you with their conditions and their thoughts and everything, and encouragement in achieving their health or lifestyle goals. So it's definitely a position to be very respectful of, and definitely be grateful of the opportunity you're being given to serve patients in this way as an undergrad.
Thank you so much, Sophia. And Wajika is going to share a little bit more about her experience in the clinical setting.
Hi everyone, my name is Wajiha. I'm a UCR graduate. I got my bachelor's in neuroscience. So I'm at the Moreno Valley Community Health Clinic, and this is my second year with the health coach program. I chose to come back for another year because my previous year we were all remote due to the COVID pandemic. And so this year, I ultimately wanted to have that opportunity, like Sophia mentioned, to have that patient interaction in person and get to be around the clinic team and get to build that networking ability that you really just don't get that advantage of when you're working through a remote forum. So a typical day as a health coach, basically, I will go in the clinic, I'll check in, I'll say hello to the doctors that are there, any of the residents, so that they know that I'm there in clinic today. And then we have access to the medical record system, which will let us know what patients' appointments that we have scheduled for that day, which is what you get to make, which is also an amazing opportunity for you to get used to that whole Epic electronic system that's utilized in our county. And then afterwards, what also happens is residents and physicians will ultimately refer patients to. So like Jackie mentioned, you are an integral part of the team because when there's no health coach there, oftentimes they'll be like, what, there's no health coach? They'll notice that, the absence of one of our fellow members on the team. So I'm one of 4 health coaches in our clinic, only because our clinic is a little bit larger, but I know on certain sites we'll have 1 or 2 depending on the size and the need of the patient population. So with that being said, I will go see my patients. Sometimes that's in person if that's someone who came in for their visit and their provider recommended them for health coaching, or it may be over the phone, ultimately because sometimes patients aren't going to necessarily come into clinic for a health coach visit because it's not necessarily like a physical examination, that sort of thing. So in that way, it's easier to just do it over the phone. But with that being said, we're still able to refer them to resources and make sure that they're able to follow up with their providers if they have any concerns. So that may seem like a lot, but as Jackie mentioned, you get trained in all of this. So you have motivational interviewing, which is so helpful because it's going to ultimately help you become that coach that you want to be, that guide for that patient. You're also going to be equipped to be able to handle but be able to be an effective communicator with patients who speak Spanish or other languages. So I often end up using the translational services at my site, and we actually have an on-site translator as well. So if you're one of those individuals who's a native Spanish speaker, I highly encourage you to apply because I think you'll be able to have a little bit more experience with working with our Spanish-speaking population. Some other things that we're trained in is the Might Play method, which is just another resource that we utilize to help our patients organize how their diet and meal planning will look like. And of course, we're able to refer them to dietitians and other resources that we have within a community, like we have transportational services if they need rides getting to their clinic appointments and whatnot. So a lot of resources are at our availability to be able to be used for the patients that we're helping to serve. I will emphasize for those that are applying, some things to note is the time commitment, because I know it seems like it may not be a lot. It is something you want to be able to work into your schedule because it's during the academic year. So for example, you want to make sure you're able to be there in clinic on a weekly basis, right? And if you're taking a break for let's say finals or break or whatnot, that you're letting your clinic team know so that they can make sure that they're not referring patients, and then those patients are, left at a standstill because they don't have a health coach or they haven't been followed up. Another thing to get to know is the amazing help that you get from Jackie, who helps so much with my med school prep applications. So definitely utilize those professional workshops that are put on. And ultimately, if you're on the fence and you're trying to decide whether you want to apply or not, just do it. I feel like you will be able to recognize how unique and important this program is as far as clinical experience goes, because I've done other programs in the community, and I feel like this is the one that I felt like I was interacting with my patients. And I call them my patients because I'm able to build a rapport and I'm able to follow up with them on a weekly basis and get to them to their goals that they want to do. So even recently, I had a patient who was able to cut back on the amount of soda she drinks. And I know that may not seem like a big goal, but for her, it was a very big step towards working towards living a healthier lifestyle. She said she wanted to be there for her grandchildren. And that's very impactful for me to recognize that what we do makes a difference in individuals' lives. So just apply, and I think you'll not regret it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wajiha and Sophia. I really appreciate you sharing your experience. So as Wajiha just said, if you're unsure, but you're in that third year, fourth year, or recent grad, and you have the time, apply. You never know unless you apply. So the next program I wanted to highlight is a program called Mini Medical School. And this program is open just to UCR undergrads. So if you haven't heard about this program before, I highly encourage you to look into it now. So it's a student-run, community-driven organization that sits within our medical school pathway programs. And basically what you get to do under this program is you get to serve your community through health education projects. So we have over 200 students that serve on MMS, and they have 32 active projects that they work on. And basically what you do is you work with a team of other undergraduates that have a passion for serving and addressing health literacy for the underserved. And throughout the academic year, you get to work on updating the curriculum for that health education presentation. You might be asked to help create brochures. You may be asked to work on different projects, maybe a video project if you're interested in that area of health education. So it's a very neat experience, and there's meetings that you're also going to be expected to attend, very much like what you would see in an on-campus organization at UCR. So in those meetings, you'll get updates around MMS and maybe things that are due, but you also get introduced to different professionals. So we often have our medical students, because we have medical student advisors, come in and do presentations on what it's like to be in med school. So sometimes we have ultrasound presentations. Sometimes they'll talk about this concept of problem-based learning and how you would be using that when you're in medical school and maybe looking over a case study. So it's really neat in that sense. We also have provider professionals come in and talk about the research process and how to do community health research. So that's very, very neat in itself. And then we often provide other opportunities outside of MMS. We like to send out notifications around internship experiences or research experiences. So it's just a great network to be a part of. A lot of pre-health students at UCR tend to join this program, so we really encourage you to apply. There is one application that happens around fall quarter. So we highly encourage you to stay updated by visiting our website at mms.ucr.edu so that you can get connected to our program. So a little bit more about the program. It runs through an academic year. So as I mentioned before, UCR undergrads within UCR serve the residents of the Inland Southern California region. And all of the material that you design is vetted by professionals. So that includes myself, but we also have provider professionals, so Dr. Ms. Simmons, Dr. Wen. We have medical residents and also medical students that help vet your material. So there's this whole streamlined process that our board leadership has worked really strongly to create to ensure that the material is of quality. And just to give you an overview, so over 300 members right now. I know I previously said over 200 members, but right now we have over 300 members, and that varies from 2 to 300. We have 5 program advisors, we have 16 medical student advisors, and then 12 undergraduate student board member leadership. So if you start off with MMS as a general member, we also highly encourage you to apply to those leadership opportunities during the academic year as they open. So we have a wonderful student board that helps to keep everything organized and secure venues to have you present to community. Right now, most of our presentations have been remote, and we do plan in the new academic year to be ready for more in-person presentations. Traditionally, the way our MMS students would present is by using a trifold board. So they would be out like at health fairs, or they might go to a local high school and present on the different health education topic. But right now, because of COVID, we have been using PowerPoint and Zoom meetings to provide those presentations. And what's a very important part of, I think, this learning experience as well is just learning how to engage with community members in different ways. So even through a Zoom presentation using a PowerPoint, like how to have an interactive component in your presentation to engage your community. And so it's not just this lecture, right, that you're providing. So it's really, really neat. And our students are amazing. I'm always impressed with the work that they do. So benefits to the program, you get to learn about community health. You get to improve your oral communication, right, your verbal communication. Research skills is also something that you get to practice and learn. Leadership skills come with the different roles that you may decide to take within MMS. And time management is also very important, right? Because you're having to balance academics and your volunteer experience. In terms of commitment, the leadership, our student undergraduate leaders have designed this point system where we require you to attend a minimum of a number of meetings, but also you're expected to work on your project and also contribute to your team's venue presentation. So when you're out in the community, so you just got to make sure you stay on top of that point system. And you also have to help complete a progress report when you're asked to give an update on how your team is doing. Different topics can include everything from the ones listed there, like autism awareness, diabetes, wellness, and stress relief, etc. But new topics are also welcome. So there is a process for submitting a new topic request if that's of interest to you. So again, our website is mms.ucr.edu. I did see someone in the audience that I think, I did see someone in the audience that's a current board member leader. So I know, Parash, I didn't ask you earlier, but if you want to share and are able to share right now with the rest of those listening about MMS and the experience, you're welcome to. So I'm not hearing from Parash, but anyways, just to let you know, this is a very well-known pathway program. So I'm sure you'll come across a lot of colleagues, especially in the pre-health realm, that have participated in MMS before. So we highly encourage you to, again, stay updated on the website, and they open applications every fall quarter. So any questions? We have a little over 15 minutes left, and you can direct your questions to myself or Esmeralda or any of our students that help share about their experience today. And Charlie, would you be okay with maybe turning off the recording in case students feel more comfortable asking their questions that way?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and stop the recording right now. Thanks, Jackie.